Alright, this is a story about road rage. And back in '73, when I was like 16 years old, there wasn't as much traffic as there was today. And it was still a situation where I didn't like to be held up by anybody. So when I went down the freeway, I was one of them assholes that cuts in and out of traffic. And now in these later years, I've realized what not to do, because a lot of times after all that work, you come to a stop sign and here's the same people you passed and they're right behind you. But at that time, when you're young and stupid, I was just in such a rush all the time that I would get infuriated by people holding me up. And I'm weaving through traffic with this 65 Olds with a 425, and somebody ahead must have seen, a jerk off weaving through traffic and thought, I'm gonna mess this guy's life up. So when I came up behind this semi, I thought I was gonna be able to veer to the left and pass up the semi, but these four guys in a BMW sped up, so I couldn't veer to the left. And they're holding me up, they're laughing, boxing me in. And I'm looking at them like, what a bunch of jerk-offs. And then I try to go forward, because I had a lot of momentum with this 425. But, it's starting to get me real riled up. And finally, I back off on the throttle. They stay even with me. And then I had enough momentum where I just finally gassed it. And I chopped in front of their front end. And like my tail left corner almost hits their front fender, and the post on my windshield almost hits that back bumper on a semi-truck. My whole front end went under it, and I ended up veering in front of them. Now they're really ticked off. So I'm in front of them, and I'm laughing, and they're riding right on my tail, and I'd pretend like I'm hitting on the brakes, and they'd, we're doing that cat and mouse thing again, and I'd get over in the right-hand lane, and then he gasses it and he gets right in front of me. And I ended up, getting right on their bumper, and they'd hit their brakes and stuff, and then they're staying even with this other vehicle, so I couldn't get around them, but little did they know I was getting off on the next off-ramp. And right when we get to the next off-ramp, they're flipping me off and stuff. But I thought, this is a perfect opportunity. This time when they tapped their brakes, I slammed on the gas and I just pile drived them right up the ass end, and I see these guys all flying forward, all flying back, and I drop down on the ramp, and now they're all flipping me off and everything, and I get down and along the frontage road, and I know there's another off-ramp up just like another mile. So I go halfway up, and as they're riding along up on the top of the freeway and I'm down below, they keep swearing at me and stuff, and I'm laughing at them. And I get halfway down and I stop and I turn my car around and I see them get off the off-ramp, and then they're chasing after me. And it was a cat and mouse, rat racing through the subdivisions that I knew, and they didn't know them well enough where I was even with a boldier car than theirs. I was eliminating them, and then finally they backed off, and they were probably going to their golf course and just went off on their own. So that's the end of that story.